give me some of your background on yourself and how you met Albert? Bryant?
Okay. I've been involved in radio and television for an awfully long time. And my primary duties is I write and produce television commercials. So we were approached by the Make-A-Wish Foundation to do some local commercials. And I really like to include people who are part of an organization, especially with something like Make-A-Wish, which is just a terrific organization. And so they recommended Albert as somebody who could be on camera. And I will admit I'm a little cautious because sometimes they say, oh, this person will be great. And then they choke when they get there. Or they're not sure and the person blooms and just does a great job and so on. So Albert actually was very good on camera. And he's very fun to work with in that sense too. So that was the first time that we met him. He told me about his interest in filmmaking and doing work behind the camera.
In the time you've known Albert, in what way would you say you've helped him with his accomplishments?
Albert got to work with me on a project. It's a personal project that I do with the Better Business Bureau. It's called In Pursuit of Ethics. And we won some national awards with it, actually international award too. And so we just did a module. What these do is they present ethical situations, people in a classroom environment, then evaluate, make decisions. Those decisions are played out dramatically. And so it's a pretty complicated kind of a project. We have not just a shoestring budget, I call it a frayed shoestring budget, in that we don't have much money to work with. Being a nonprofit, BBB doesn't have a lot to work with on that. But we needed to do a pretty complicated shoot based on an education module. So since Albert had expressed some interest in being involved in the industry, and I thought he could help us out and he could learn at the same time, we talked, and he said he'd be very glad to help us out, and he was very helpful with us up on the set. He ran the boom mic for a lot of the audio, and he was in the background of one of the extras, as a matter of fact, and pretty much had to jump a lot because we had to make people jump to get things done quickly, but he did a nice job with that. So I guess what I'd say in answer to your question is what happened to help Albert with his project is it's kind of baptism by fire, in that we needed to have him do things to show him quickly how to get things done, but he seemed to adapt to that and he kept going with it, and that's the mark, in my opinion, no matter what field somebody's involved in, of someone who is going to be successful, is when they realize there are issues, you get past the issues and keep moving forward, and that's what he did.
Jim, in seeing Albert perform and working, with you, how do you see his success in what he's been pursuing with his acting in making his own movie?
Well, I wish I had a crystal ball and I could look into it and tell you exactly what's going to happen. But my impression is that Albert, especially at his young age, has learned that nothing goes easily. Your plans will fall apart at the last minute, but then you have to find other ways around the problems. And that is something that I think is one of the keys to success, is not focusing on the problem but looking for solutions. And that's what Albert has done. He is willing to ask to learn new things. He's willing to try different things. And that's critical. I used to have a producer many years back when I was at Channel 13. And I'll never forget, she would get really upset about, we produced news promotions and things like that. And she would say, well, they didn't give me the information. They didn't do that. And they didn't. And it's like, okay, hold on. You could put up, here's the commercial, and at the bottom put a little thing that says, well, I didn't have the information, so I couldn't possibly get the commercial done on time, and I had to fake this, and it's like, people don't care. They only know what they see as the final result. And he said, it's kind of like your goal is to run down this path, and a tree's falling across the path, and you decide to stop and stand there and yell at the tree. That's not going to change anything. Find a way around the tree. And I think I see with Albert, he finds the way around the tree. Yes. And understands that, okay, if I can't do it the way I wanted to, how can I still get this done? That, I believe, in anything in life is a great attitude. And, sometimes you have to accept that it's not going to be exactly what you had hoped, but you have to finish a project. I think he's going to do that. So I think that will help him to achieve success. And I hope it's true.
Yes.
Okay, Miss Irene, can you kind of give me some background on yourself and how you met Alfred Kirby?
Okay, my name is Irina Zaurov, and I arrived to United States 18 years ago from former Soviet Union, where I was acting professionally in the Moscow theater. I didn't plan to be an actor here, or never even dreamed to ended up teaching, but somehow get the English language together. And then I met Dari, who just trusted me, and she invited me to teach in this school.
Okay.
And
Could I
yes.
stop you for a moment? Let's go back to your acting career in Russia.
Yeah.
Were there any significant things that you did while you were there, or any plays that we?
I worked there about 10 years, and I did any possible classic Russian and Soviet play. And also I was sound cartoons, and I work a little bit in commercials, and I have 5 movies in Russia, but it was all independent movies, so it's not a huge screen, but it was very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we decided to totally change our life because Soviet Union collapsed, and I also have a son with special needs who need attention by this time, so it was absolutely amazing when we came here and started probably from the scratch and just going step by step. It was a very tough time, but right now looking back was very interesting too.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So
No, it's
you were talking about Miss Dottie,
Yeah.
and so can you continue? Or?
Daddy Zimmerman is a creative director here in Children's Theater Workshop, and she was looking for teachers who could just introduce kids to the theater, and she told me I'll be perfect just to show them my experience from Russia. And I was kind of scared because I thought it's not enough vocabulary I have, and the same time the accent, everything was holding me back. But I still think that she is my, angel, and she just give me green light just to start it because I already have this second degree here as a medical assistant, but I always want to be back on acting, and right now working with this wonderful young people, it's just amazing, just amazing.
So how is it that you came in contact with Albert?
With Albert was very interesting too. So I'm usually teach a class here at Children's Theater Workshop. It's a teen class. And I never forget when he came, he was barely 13. And we have many different students in the classroom, and they were 13 and up, but I never forget he told me, even though I look so mature, I'm only 13. So then we start to do some games and exercises. It just I just see that he was so naturally talented that every time I even open my mouth, he already did it. And sometimes it take me just to explain kids what we're doing, and I was kind of holding this back, that I was thinking that they don't understand me. He always did it, and we have this, was wonderful, bonding. Then he told me, I also write a script. Can I just show it to you? When the first time he brought me one of his script, I was stunned, because for 13 years old guy, in this age, they barely can, write the essay or what. It was exactly what I was taught how to write the script. It was introduction, it was the conflict. Every character was so wonderfully open up and was ending. I said, did you do it? He said, yeah. So the first time I told him, you need to go to University of Toledo and just take maybe one class playwright. He was already there. He needs just a little bit, some professional eye, because I didn't feel that I have this right but it was absolutely amazing. And then year by year, step by step, he's ready.
Okay.
He is an actor, and this is natural talent. And I was very glad when he was accepted for this Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he had this absolutely amazing meeting with the actor he wished to meet. It was every step in his life, it just something like he's my son, and it's just, oh my goodness. And his grandma always called me and said, Miss Irina, turn the TV. Miss Irina, grab this newspaper. Even so, I'm always, updating what he does, and this is an amazing news that his movie finally got to the end, because with some struggling, he was very nervous about it, but I'm so glad he done it. And I never, doubted that it will be just without end. But he did it, and make me very, very proud.
Well, my name's Bryant, and I play the character Matthew Kirby in Vampire Chick. I'm also the creator of Vampire Chick.
Okay, and you also did the writing?
Yeah, I
and
wrote
producing?
the script. Yeah.
Okay, so what possessed you to want to do this project? What was your idea in putting this project together?
I was encouraged to direct after I went to John Homa's class, my friend John.
Who's John Homa?
John Homa is the acting coach on the show General Hospital, which currently just ended. And he coaches, private coaching and does classes in Los Angeles.
Okay, and he decided to give you the opportunity to do this in what way?
Well, he gave me the idea, of not just acting, but also coaching. And, just that being said, I ended up getting the idea to end up directing my own movie. From that.
So I understand that you had the opportunity to go to Hollywood and meet Mr. Homa?
Yep.
And how did that result? I mean, how did that come about?
That started through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, because I was diagnosed with a condition called mitochondrial myopathy. It's a life illness. And that condition is what got me into the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Thank my doctor, he signed, so I could do that.
Okay. So are you, now you're completed the project, can you tell us a little bit about some of the trials and the tribulations that you had in putting this together?
Vampire Chick was probably the most difficult production I ever worked on in my whole 5 years of, being in acting and stuff. Casting, that was a very difficult thing. Casting for the film and, finding the right actors for the right parts. Because I had actually 2 sets of cast. The first set didn't work out the greatest, and, the second set worked out pretty good.
Okay. And as a result of your efforts and all the trials and tribulations that you had, how would you sum up the end of the project? How did it turn out?
I say it turned out pretty great. I think it was pretty great. I'm pretty impressed with the stuff we filmed. I think it's going to be a great movie. I think a lot of people are going to like it. For it being an independent project, a lower budget film, I think it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, everybody. Of all the instrumental people that have been involved in helping him do this movie, who do you think was the most important?
I think it started when he had a Make-A-Wish, and he went out west here, and his producer out there he met was named John Homa. I think he had a real big influence on him, because I was shocked when he brought up he might do a movie, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, do it. Like, man, come on, he even started. But John Homa, we have been to a couple of his workshops. I guarantee you, Al has been real instrumental for him, let alone a good student. And he even told us he couldn't believe how he almost took over one time when he took a leave for a couple seconds. Al took over the class, and he couldn't believe the kids were all listening to him and doing things that John Homa would tell him. And it was like, how he picks up that so fast, it was amazing. But like I said, John Homa, I didn't even know him. I hate to say that, but influence-wise, they keep in touch to this very day. And I told him myself, I said, he's always have a good friend, and with him, I don't care what you say, you should always keep that guy around for them, no matter what reason nobody say, just because the way they communicate, they talk, and they influence each other very much, influence each other. So John Homa, I would say, put a big part in Al's life, plus myself, because he helps him out. Times are kind of hard and rough. John Home's a pretty good guy.